Welcome back to the Mayorverse, everybody. Mayor Reynolds, aka Midnight Mayor here, and today we are talking about the future of the vehicle segment in DEADROP, the race to the tower, the midnight ride. It's been called several things. It's the very first thing you do once you leave your player hideout in a game of DEADROP. It's implemented for the first time in Snapshot 7, and in this video, not only are we going to quickly explain it and go over it, but we're going to go over the things that I think should change short term, and then some ideas that I've seen both from myself and people in the community to expand upon the concept. And of course, Midnight Society themselves have shared ideas as well. So let's talk about the future of driving, racing, car combat, all that stuff in DEADROP. So if you haven't played it yet, or you still don't understand the racing segment, the very first thing you do after you leave your player hideout when you queue up for a match in DEADROP is this segment, the Midnight Ride, the Race to the Tower. In this segment, you race a car, which right now there's two different ones in the game. We're gonna get into all that stuff in a little bit, but you race a car through the city to the tower. This is similar to the spaceship segment in Marauders if you've played that. So you're actually racing against other players driving through the city. It already looks great at this early stage of development. The cars feel really good to drive. You can slide around corners, turbo boost, go off jumps, and fight. You can shoot if you equip a pistol or an SMG. You can shoot out of your window and shoot at other cars and actually blow them up. Don't worry if you get blown up, if you get killed, if you crash, the game doesn't end for you. You still get to go. You just kind of lose progress in the race because obviously you just get blew up. You have to respawn. The respawn timer is not very long. It's just a few seconds, and you're gonna fall further behind in the race. It's very arcade style, though we do have car combat in there. And the entire point of the racing segment, the race to the tower, is to actually A, start your raid. It's fun. But B, if you win or hypothetically place high, you get to the tower before all the other players that are finishing behind you. Everybody starts at the same time, of course, but you know, if you get there quickly, you get in the tower quickly, you can start looting quicker than the other players who are still racing and have not finished yet. You can get to a better position for high ground. Whatever, that's the payoff, that's the benefit as implemented right now. You get there, well, hopefully you have some fun, but you get there quick and you get to actually start your game, start your raid ahead of people who are driving like grandpa and are still back there or whatever. It's also important to note that which exit you get off during the race, there's obviously multiple. They are linked to various spawn points within the tower. So if you get off an exit that says control on it, that means you're going to spawn in or around somewhere in the control room in sector 3. Obviously in the future when there's other sectors that are connected, right now it's only sector 3 that is linked to the racing segment of the game. That's the whole point of this. If you take one that is, for example, you know you want to spawn in this point of the map, you can try to get to that exit first. Or if there's too many players who've already gotten off that exit, you will see the door comes down and the light changes from green to red. You can no longer get off that exit. You have to take a different one. It's fine. There's an ultimate one at the very end where if you just drive forward enough, anybody can take that one. But those actual exits are linked to actual spawn points in the map. So just a little heads up. By the way, if you happen to get stuck while you're driving in the race, you can't move, hold X, and shout out to Only Sam on Twitch for being the first person to point this out, to me at least. So if you get stuck, hold X. Quick little tip there for you. It's not over, don't worry. This brings us to the first thing that I think needs to change in the short term about the driving segment, the Midnight Ride in DEADROP, and that is the heal. If you notice, you have two different abilities in your car. There's a turbo boost, the E, and then if you hit Q, you know, that is like a heal. It repairs your car. I think you can use that much too frequently for the power that it basically repairs your car to full. It's very strong, and I think it's only a 10-second cooldown. So I think if it's gonna stay only one person per car, then that either has to have a longer cooldown on it. I think you'll see more actual explosions in that scenario. Because if you're pretty good, you can basically avoid blowing up at any time because you can heal so frequently, no matter how much damage the other person is doing, or just make it heal and repair your car less. There's two different scenarios there. I just think that ability is a little bit overpowered and can use some retooling, I guess. Now, I know a lot of people have asked, will we be able to put duos or trios in the same vehicle and have like squad battles in Dead Drop's vertical extraction shooter mode? Right now, it sounds like that's not the plan, but I wouldn't be surprised if this was something that was implemented way down the road. The reason I say way down the road is because it would have to probably be a separate queue, right? If you could have one guy driving and shooting, and then 2 additional people leaning out the windows and shooting, you would probably only want to go up against other cars in other, squad scenarios. If you're just a lone driver, especially if you're a new player, you don't even have a pistol or an SMG, and you're going up against 3 people in a car and they're just lambasting you, it's going to be a very frustrating experience. So you would want to be if you have those squad cars, which potentially is viable, if enough people want it. I imagine 12 a.m. would enable it in the future, but it would have to be a separate queue, so it'd probably have to be sometime after the actual free-to-play launch of Dead Drop. That brings us to the next part of the future of the gameplay loop involving vehicles and the racing and all that stuff, which is actual customization of the cars and the building of the cars to express yourself through your vehicle in Dead Drop. So right now there's 2 different cars in the very first version in Snapshot 7 in Dead Drop. There is the Gallus and the Ronin. The Ronin is currently only available in the Dr. Disrespect driver's key package. Everybody gets a Gallus, but you can customize, you can get different wraps for these things. Right now you can use the spray paints, which are collectibles in game, and then apply them to your car to change the color. And there's also license plates that you can unlock. Some of them are in driver's keys packages. Some of them are in the exotic crates that comes with the driver keys. Who knows how we're probably going to get plenty of ways to unlock these things in the future, right? Including battle passes, probably custom creations from creators in the community via the marketplace, a variety of things. But also, Midnight Society also shared this really cool GIF, which is a concept of customization for cars in the future of Dead Drop. Again, it's just an internal concept which shows different customizable parts. As far as we know, these wouldn't change the function of the vehicle, they'd be purely cosmetic. And obviously, the jury is out on how these would be earned. Is it going to be stuff that you just search for in the tower? You go into your raids and you work for long enough and you eventually find these parts and you extract with them. Could it be battle pass stuff? Could it be rewards for doing quests or missions for various vendors in the tower? There's a variety of ways that they can go about this. Some of them could be purchasable, of course. Sky's the limit, and I'm really excited about this, building custom cars, and just that's exciting. That's very exciting. The one thing that I think is likely is a variety of tracks in the future of Dead Drop. So right now we have 1 track. By the way, very well done on the track. I don't know who designed it, but this thing it's huge. It's visually impressive. It's hype inducing. Very, very, very job well done at Midnight Society. But anyway, I would imagine we're gonna get variable tracks. I don't know if procedurally generated is the right word. Probably not. Hypothetically, you could do that. But when you're going to the different sectors, so for example, right now we go just to Sector 3, and there's things that say, Sector 3, you can see it, that you're going cold storage on the track. So if you're not going to cold storage, if you're not going to Sector 3, if you're going to Sector 2, I imagine you might have a different track, and that track might have some different visual cues as well, right? So like maybe as you get closer to the tower on the Sector 3 track in the future, you start to see, I don't know, some colder visual cues, some that kind of idea, ice or fog or whatever. But maybe as you're getting closer to approaching the building in what is planned to be Sector 5 Foundry, which is like a metalworking shop or something, like a mine facility with like fire or like molten metal and lava, maybe you start to see heat, those kinds of things, right? I imagine that's, again, down the road, but laying ahead in the future is like a variety of tracks, visual themes for those tracks, so on and so forth. Plus, they could all change. You never know with seasonal events. Maybe certain things happen in certain parts of the city or on certain sectors, and maybe the track changes up for that season too because it's being affected by some event that's happening in the existence that season. Who knows? So you may have noticed billboards on these tracks as well. One of them says New Wave Radio 87. I hoped that led to some new ARG thing or something. I don't think it does. There it is right there. Another one has the synthetic, get it, the TurboTech oil on it. Something I would love to see in the future is a little kind of like either obviously story elements on those billboards, or you could actually, you know, and some people will cringe at this, but sell ad space to brands. So when you're on the way to the tower, you know, 12 a.m. can hypothetically make money just by putting somebody's logo on those, you know, on those billboards. I know Splitgate did this. They formed partnerships with different companies and had those companies. They had, like, you know, there was an arena in Splitgate that ads for companies on it, and those companies compensated the developer, which only helps the developer make more money, right? And that's in the long run, that's a good thing. We want our developers, we want Midnight Society to make money and continue building this game and doing awesome stuff. So the next thing is different types of vehicles. You know, of course, we talked about cars and customizing our cars. The 402 Robert Bowling, head of Midnight Society, has also used the term vehicle quite a bit instead of cars, and directly said, you know, we may have different types of vehicles in the future, which makes total sense, obviously. And if you turn the clock way back and look for very early, like, conceptual footage of DEADROP, there were variance clause on motorcycles in that footage. I have an image of it right here as my thumbnail. I don't have this thumbnail on my computer anymore. I got a new computer. But that seems very likely, right? Maybe the ability to drive, having motorcycles, who knows what else is out there. But I think you're only going to see the different styles of vehicles and types of vehicles expand over time. If you have an idea, other vehicles you'd like to see, please, you know, leave it down in the comments. I did a video about different classic cars I would love to see in DEADROP, which is on this channel. But then you also get into the idea of, like, UGC creations, right? And creative mode creations with people actually making their own cars, and hypothetically, whether they sell them on the marketplace or just tinker with them, you can create in that creative mode and the broader vision of UGC, you'll be able to create your own custom vehicles. I'm definitely building the El Camino from Midnight, our live action DEADROP series and short film in DEADROP, no doubt. But brands could even do this, right? Like if Elon Musk wants to build a Cybertruck in DEADROP, that could be done in UGC in creative mode, and then hypothetically placed on the marketplace and sold. That, of course, brings us to the creation of other vehicle experiences in DCM, DEADROP creative mode, and, you know, UGC, under the UGC umbrella in the future. So, you know, right now in the game, we already have Joker's High Octane CTF as a featured mode in DCM, the beginning of Snapshot 7. Check that out if you're interested. But there could obviously be a number of other experiences. Somebody may create, maybe they want to do their whole own car combat game, like Twisted Metal or Cell Damage or Vigilante 8 or whatever. Those used to be awesome, right? And please, Sony, bring back Twisted Metal and something other than a show, please. I heard they've been working on it forever. Don't know where it is. Anyway, but there's also, somebody could make just a pure racing mode if they want. Like, you know, you race other people. You're basically your DEADROP NASCAR replica, okay? But it may be in a different setting, like the Existence, if they so choose. Or maybe they do want to replicate NASCAR tracks. Just have a pure racing experience. That's it, because maybe they don't like first-person shooters, or they just aren't very good at them and they just want to race. That's cool. Everybody can bring their own custom cars in there and race their cars. There's a million different options here, but I'm just throwing it out. 100% part of the future of vehicles in DEADROP right there is UGC, DCM, creative mode, all that. So I've also heard some people mention that they would like to see actual weapons systems implemented into the vehicles in DEADROP. So for example, instead of shooting a pistol or an SMG out the window, you know, maybe when you're customizing your car, you can add actual guns to it. I think this is probably not going to happen. My personal prediction, not any insight from the 12 a.m. development team, clearly. I think that'd be a heavy lift and also could get into balance issues. And really, the vehicle section of DEADROP, while awesome and important, is not exactly meant to be, you know, its own competitive beast. Or if you know, so again, when you're that would present issues with, you're a new player, you get in, you're racing for the first time, and there's some dude who's got a rocket launcher built onto his car. He's been grinding the game and he's got all the parts for it, and he's just decimating everybody on the track. It sounds fun. Somebody build it in DCM, but just maybe not in the vertical extraction shooter mode. You know, sweet idea. I do like it. I just don't think we'll actually see that. And then the last one's just a simple question, and I've heard people ask this as well. Do you want to race home or ride home to the tower, or from the tower to your player hideout again after your raid has concluded, if you extracted or if you got the dead drop? It's an option. I don't think most people will really want to. I think they'll want to get straight to you know, taking care of that loot that they just got out with, and arranging their inventory and putting on the new attachments and getting to the vendor. I know Marauders does have a section where you have to get out, get back into your spaceship, and then you know, actually get back out through the same like space portal, I guess it is, that you came in. And that does add some intensity, because you can die again in that game. During that segment, you can die at that point, and you could lose everything if your ship explodes or if you don't make it out in time. That would add an extra level of intensity. So even after you hypothetically, you know, take the zip line out of Sector 3 or whatever, you know, you've got a limited amount of time to race out of there with your car and get back to your player hideout. It's a cool thought. I think dead drop's already going to be a thrilling enough experience without that, to be honest with you. And I think I like the approach of, personally, the pre-game race to the tower just being a really fun, and it does have, you know, importance because it determines your spawn and how quickly you spawn in. But, you know, I think a lot of people really might not like either you know, doing the vehicle segment again after you got in there, you got all your stuff, and you just want to get to handling it, or B, if there were actual stakes to it, and if you could die like in Marauders and lose your stuff, people would definitely not like that. If you fragged out and you got 20 kills and you got 15 obelisks and a floppy disk and Dr. Disrespect's Visor Cortex, and then you, if hypothetically, again, this is not the way the game's implemented now, crashed your car or something and then lost everything. Again, not the way the game works. You can't die or lose lives in your car. But I'm just saying, I don't think that's why like a race home or a ride home will necessarily happen. That's it for this video, guys. If you have questions about the driving segment or ideas about the future of it, because it's surely going to expand and evolve, leave them down in the description. I'll be watching them, and we know Midnight Society is always looking for, you know, the community's feedback and ideas. So clearly leave your thoughts. I'm really enjoying it. I'm not even a racing person. I don't really play racing games, but just the theme of the Midnight Ride, the race to the tower, it's super slick. I'm loving it, and yeah, looking forward to doing it for a long time and seeing how it evolves. So if you want more Dead Drop Midnight Society content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, if I hyped you up or whatever, and we'll see you in the tower. Be dropping in all the time. Twitch.tv/MayorReynolds if you want to join us. See you in the next one. Mayor Reynolds out.